Welcome to Unity Church of Sun Lakes. It's so great to see all of you. I was thinking we were only going to have about 4 people here, but everybody came right in the last few minutes. And great to see you. I'm Kate King Turner, if you don't recognize me, which is fine if you don't. I'm going to be facilitating today. And we had previously thought that Craig Haley and Peterson were going to be here and be doing our music today, but at the last minute, Craig had a diagnosis and he just wasn't up to coming today, and so he called Jeanne, and guess who said yes?
So much for having minister friends who run churches, right?
You're always on tap, girl. And you know, we hear from her, we love her, but I thought maybe, Jeanne was nice enough to provide me with a little bio information on Renee, and I thought that would be very nice for us to find out a little bit more about Renee Morgan-Brooks. So, it's pretty impressive, if I do say so. Renee Morgan-Brooks is synonymous with spiritual energy made manifest. Ooh. Whether singing, speaking, teaching, or just walking around the room, her presence is warm and palpable. She has opened for international speakers such as Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, Neil Donald Walsh, and Gary Zukav, and many others. Renee has been a voice for good and human empowerment in Israel, Australia, New Zealand, England, and Germany. Closer to home, Renee graced the stage for Arizona Theater Company, Actors Theater of Phoenix, and Phoenix Theater, and performed for many civic organizations and events. Our Miss Brooks, we're old enough to remember that, right? Our Miss Brooks has performed at the prestigious Monterey Jazz Festival. In the Phoenix area, Renee has sung in many churches in the Valley, the Arizona Interfaith Movement, and the House of Representatives. She gets around, don't you think? She holds degrees as an interfaith minister and a practitioner for religious science. All of that and beautiful and a great voice. So let's welcome Renee. Before she does her first song, I'm just going to do a quick, I don't think we see anyone brand new to us, but someone who hasn't been here a while, as I recall, right? So it's very good to see you. And as we always do, if my accompanist over here would change the slide, we'll do our... You know, you think you got them trained. Yeah, she's going to do this any minute now. Mm-hmm. I'll just do a soft shoot. We got that. And here we go. We know you. We love you. We love you. We love you. I didn't want her to get behind. Anyway, we're going to have our opening prayer. I will settle down, I promise. 2 cups of coffee and a little wine. And our opening prayer is by our own Reverend Jeanne. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So incredible to see all these beautiful faces and all the love that we have for each other this morning. It's amazing. So let's close our eyes and we'll tune into that love that lives within each and every one of us in our hearts. Connecting to our breath. And just thinking of that love, seeing the word love in our mind's eye. Feeling a sense of belonging because of love, that we can go anywhere, that we belong. We belong right here. We are all here by divine appointment. And we know that each and every one of us is going to get a spark or an insight or something. There's a reason why we're here today to come together. And in unity, prayer is one of our, it's our number one secret power, prayer. And so we hold those that can't be with us, those in our community that can't be here, including Reverend Craig Haley. We just send all that love and light to those that can't be with us today. That they are truly in our hearts. And as we go about today, we're going to recall our intention for the year. And so we're so grateful for this opportunity to live big, to think bigger, because we know who we are. The truth of who we are is God. And what a gift to come together and see God in each other. And so we say, thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for that spark. And so it is. So it is.
Thank you, Jeanne. And now we'll have the daily word read by Reverend Gloria Landing.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Our daily word today is guidance. Divine wisdom helps me discover my unique spiritual path. Tending to my spiritual life keeps me attentive to the whispers of my heart and in tune with my guidance. I am grateful for those moments when I can rely upon my spiritual intuition to discern my path forward. But sometimes my guidance feels far away and hard for me to access on my own. And at those times, I may seek the assistance of my trusted friends and advisors. I may seek the wise counsel of my minister or a spiritual counselor who encourages me to discover the wisdom found in the depths of my consciousness. She, he, or they pray for me, listen with empathy, and share my joy as my innate wisdom leads me along my unique spiritual path. I am grateful for those who walk this path alongside me. And from John 14:26, but the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything and remind you of all that I have said to you.
Thank you, Maria. And now we're going to have our song prepare for meditation. And Reverend Renee will do it for us.
Life can be a challenge. Life can seem impossible. It's never easy when so much is on the line. But you can make the difference. With courage you can set things right. The gift to dream and make dreams real is yours and mine. The power of one begins with believing. It starts in our heart and flows through your soul and changes the world. Imagine how life will be when we're standing in unity. Each of us holds the key to the power of one. Each of us is chosen. There's a mission just for you. Just look inside, you'll be surprised what
what you can do. The power of one begins with believing. It starts in your heart and flows through your soul and changes the world. Imagine how life will be when we're standing in unity. Each of us holds the key to the power of one, and one by one we can make this world a much better place. The power of one begins with believing. It starts in your heart and flows through your soul and changes the world. Imagine how life will be when we're standing in unity. Oh, thank you, God. Each of us holds the key. It's inside you and me. Each of us holds the key to the power of one. The power of one, 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 one.
And now Reverend Julia will come and do our meditation for us.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Ah, nice deep breath. Isn't that wonderful? We can just say, nice deep breath and it happens. So let it happen. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. We're just going to visualize that breath in our shoulders. Our shoulders are breathing and relaxing. Just relax. And let's visualize a beautiful, beautiful meadow. And we're all in that meadow, and whatever colors, whatever flowers are blooming in that meadow, we're joining into the growth. And there's many, many that are there also. We are there, but there are others that are there also. And as we walk around this beautiful meadow, we meet people. Maybe people that we've not seen before, but yet we feel their energy. We feel the love coming from them. We feel the essence of God and love and light coming from them. And as we greet them, we're so happy that they have chosen their path. And we have chosen our path. And each one of us is glad, happy, joyous to recognize whatever the path that others have chosen. We can mingle with that. We can join with that. And we still have that love between us, even though we might see something that's different from the others. But we're so happy. We just give a hug, shake a hand, say it's okay. It's okay, whatever you've chosen, it's okay. I love every bit of it. Walk along this beautiful meadow and seeing the blooms, the flowers, the blossoms, and see the growth that comes from you to others. And You just say to yourself, this is my path. This is my way, and it's a good way, and it's a good path. And I love every step of it. Because it brings me closer to my truth awareness that who I truly am and who I truly came to be. And I know it. Oh, it just comes to me like the blossoms of the flowers. I see it, feel it, know it. This is my path. And I am so joyous with that. No matter what others may think, because others at this matter are all in their own focus of love and their own path, and I agree. I join with their love and their awareness. Oh, it feels so good. I breathe the breath of life as I shake the hands of those that I meet. I give a hug with the steps that I take, and I join in, and I love this. And I love it because it is so, and it is so. Thank you.
Would you join with me in reciting the Lord's Prayer? Heavenly source, thou who art everywhere, hallowed be thy name, or thy vibration. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, here, now, and forevermore. Fill us with the power of thy mercy, and free us from the fritters with which we bind each other. Lead us out of temptation, free us from ourselves, and give us the strength to be at one with thee. Teach us the true power of forgiveness. May this holy moment be the ground from which our future actions grow. Amen. Now we're going to have another song by, are we having another song? Yep. We are having another song, yes. By Miss Renee.
What's your name?
You look like you were surprised by that for some reason.
I thought it was I am.
Okay, just checking.
Yes, your perception is good. You know what I think I'm going to do? Because I'm due for another song, is that correct? Would you mind if I, that's not it.
Sorry.
No, just hold on a second. Would you mind if I shared with you the Desperado?
Oh.
Would that be okay with you?
Yes.
Yes. So we're just going to let this be. The Desperado says, go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in
Silence. As far as possible, without surrender. Be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant, for they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Keep interested in your own career. However humble, it is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery, but let this not blind you to what virtues there are. For many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Do not feign affection, and neither be cynical about love. For in the face of all heredity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly to counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth, and nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortunes, but do not distress yourself with imaginings. For many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond the wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. For you are a child of the universe, and no less than the trees and the stars, you have a right to be here. So whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God. Whatever you conceive him or her or it to be, and in your labor and aspirations in this noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham and drudgery and broken dreams, this is still a beautiful world. Be careful. Strive to be happy.
Beautifully said.
And now Reverend Jeanne has the pleasure of following that. Her message.
It works perfect.
It does, it does. Thank you so much for that.
You are so welcome.
Wonderful.
It's a joy to be with you. It really is a joy to be with all of you. The power that is in this room, as I've told Jeanne on many occasions, there's not only power in this room, but there is wisdom in this room. And coming together and being with you is a distinct joy. So,
Here, here. Thank you. Back at you.
It's warm. Pardon me. There was once a church named God Almighty Tabernacle. And one Saturday afternoon, Pastor Dave, the minister of God Almighty Tabernacle, was at his church office putting his sermon together for the next day. Saturday afternoon turned into Saturday evening, which quickly turned into Saturday night. And before he knew it, it was 10 o'clock at night. He decided he'd better call home and let his wife know that he was still working at the church. He dialed his home number, but got no answer. And he thought, wow, that's really odd. It's 10 o'clock at night. His wife certainly would be home. So he hung up and then he redialed. And this time she answered immediately. He asked if the phone had just rung and she said no. So he decided he must have dialed the wrong number and forgot all about it. The next day after the service, he was having a quiet moment in his office when the phone rang. No one else was around, so he answered it. God Almighty Tabernacle, this is Pastor Dave. And a very, very shaky voice on the other end of the phone said, God Almighty Tabernacle? Is this a church? The minister answered, why, yes it is. How may I serve you? With this, the man started to laugh and to cry all at the same time. He said, you already have. Last night you saved my life. You see, I had reached the depths of despair. I was in the darkest place I have ever been. I had nowhere to turn and no one to turn to. I was even contemplating suicide. It was around 10 p.m. when the only thing I could think to do was to fall to my knees and to pray to God. for help, not thinking for a moment that I was worthy of God's help, but I was desperate. While I was still on my knees, my phone rang. I got up to answer it, but when I saw the words, God Almighty, on my caller ID display, I was too afraid to pick up the phone. That story perfectly illustrates what we're going to explore this morning. So I want you to know that God, life, with a capital L, is calling you. It's calling you right now. And are you willing to go pick up that phone? Thank you for picking up the phone yesterday, my love. And to continue the theme for this month, what shall this year bring? Our question this morning is, will you answer life's call? Will 2022 be the year that you answer life's call? And what is that call? Well, last week we had a chance to identify it. If you weren't here, I strongly recommend that you watch the recording on YouTube and do the exercise that we did at the last service to set your course for this year. We each set an intention and a theme for our lives in 2022. So I'm curious, I'd like to hear a couple. Because some of you said, oh yeah, I'm going to go home and I'm going to put it up all over my house. Can anyone recite theirs?
You mean share our theme?
Yep.
Okay, my theme is gratitude.
Gratitude is our theme.
For the perfect healing of my body.
For the perfect healing of your body. Beautiful. Love it. Kate?
Mine was, I can't remember the exact
Sure.
order, but to use my gifts and talents to bring joy to other people.
Beautiful. Love it. Anyone else? Mine was to see God in everything and everyone in an atmosphere of profound peace. I feel that. It has shifted my life. We had so much chaos this morning. No, it's just peaceful. In a flow of peace. Things just... Mike, Mark Meeker couldn't be here today, and Mike just stepped in and did all of this magically. And you did it peacefully, right, Mike?
I'm still breathing a little heavy.
Thank you. So God, life, has called you. And it is calling you right now. Will you pick up the phone? Or will you just let it ring? I want to share with you 4 ideas this morning that will take you a long way in answering that call. Today, choose to answer the call by L, letting go of the past. I, imagining a greater life. F, freeing yourself to choose. And E, expressing your divinity. So L, letting go of the past. We cannot answer the call to a greater expression of life if we are holding on to the past. You can't climb to the next rung of the ladder as you hold on to the one below. Hanging on to the old only tarnishes the new and keeps it from developing in our life. Jesus told us, you cannot put new wine into old wineskins. Remember? In order to be the true person that we were intended to be, it is necessary to let go of old ideas and patterns. And as we let go of what we were, only then can we become what we are. Luke chapter 9, verse 59 to 62, Jesus said to another man, "Follow me." But the man replied, "Lord, first let me go and bury my father." Jesus said to him, "Let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and proclaim the kingdom of God." Still another said, "I will follow you, Lord. But first, let me go back and say goodbye to my family." And Jesus replied, "No one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for service in the kingdom of God." Well, what does this mean? It's simple. You can't move forward and hang on to the past. You can't travel north and south at the same time. What for you this morning? What might you realize it is time to let go of in order for you to answer the call? To live that intention and in the theme that you identified last Sunday. Imagining a greater life. One day, a little old lady was walking down the street. She's carrying a small box with holes punched in the top. "What's in the box?" her neighbor asked. "A cat," the little woman answered. "Well, what for?" "I've been dreaming about mice at night, and I'm scared of mice. The cat is to catch them." "But the mice you dream about are imaginary," said the neighbor lady. The little lady looked at her friend and she whispered, "So is the cat." When we live out of our imagination, we live out of our potential. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, writes, "If you want your imagination to work perfectly, you must use it. The infinite mind perfects. It puts life and love into our productions or pictures. Love draws things from the universal, but what gives it the form? Imagination. As you see in your mind, so you become. Are you willing this year to open yourself to new ideas, dreams, and possibilities? Are you ready to answer life's call by allowing your imagination to bring in newness? Or to create a new world in which war and poverty, sickness and famine will all have disappeared? The divinity within us stirs our imagination and compels our growth. Are you ready to think bigger this year? Michelangelo wrote, "The greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it." The danger is not in having false hope. Rather, it is in having no hope or low hope. Lily Tomlin said, "Sometimes I worry about being a success in a mediocre world." The world is full of people who have aimed low and thought small, who want to impose small thinking on anyone who will listen and accept. The real challenge is not giving up or not setting standards of smallness for ourselves, having low expectations. A man was playing blackjack in the casino in Las Vegas. He overheard several conversations between other gamblers. "How'd you make out?" one fellow asked another. The man replied, "I lost about 400. Bummer." Later, the same fellow asked a woman, "How was your night?" "I'm down about 250, she said. "Sorry to hear that," he said. A few minutes later, he asked someone else the same question. "I dropped about $100, the man answered. "Well, that's pretty good," the first man replied. The man scratched his head as he realized that these people define winning by how little they lost. They assumed that they would lose. And if they lost a little rather than a lot, wow, that felt successful. You cannot define success by how little you lose. The purpose of life is not to minimize your losses, but to maximize your gains. If you have lost a lot, you may become so accustomed to losing that winning seems like a fantasy. But success is not a pipe dream. Not in this room. It's what you are here for. And I'm not referring to simply winning money. I'm referring to winning love and joy and connection, creativity and success in your chosen field. If your life is consumed with responding to emergencies and putting out fires and damage control, consider what it would take for you to feel like you are thriving rather than just surviving. Making choices from a sense of expansion instead of settling. In the new year, we again have the opportunity, as we do every new day, to aim high, to dream larger, attain the impossible, and realize that we are the vehicle through which life expresses itself. So don't be afraid to think big. Remember, a dream, by definition, is an idea that transcends present circumstances and known limitations. Robert Browning said, but a man's reach should exceed his grasp. Or what's a heaven for? So what big dream is contained in your intention and theme for 2022? And are you ready to imagine it? We have so much talent right here in this room. We have healers. We have teachers. We have prayer partners, powerful prayer partners in this room. Folks, let's think big this year. I can't wait to see what this year is going to bring this community alone. F, freeing yourself to choose. Someone once said, destiny is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. The law of mind action states, whatever you think and hold in consciousness as being true, out manifests itself in your body and affairs. Therefore, learn to stand guard at the door of your mind and let in no thoughts or feelings that you do not want out manifested. We are free to choose anything we wish, but we must accept the responsibility of our choices. Because inexorable law will create experiences according to our choices. Job chapter 2, verse 28. You will decide upon a matter, and it will be established for you. Let me give you an example. I chose to eat everything in sight during the holidays, and now I'm experiencing the consequences of those choices. I can't wear half my wardrobe. So we don't get to control the consequences of our choices. But we do get to control our choices. So to answer life's call, we must let go of the past. Imagine a greater experience. Free yourself to choose. And E, expressing your divinity. It's important to remember, though, not to forget who you are in the process. For example, a Jewish Talmud student left the old country for America to follow his dreams of a greater experience. After many, many years, he returns home to visit his family. Upon seeing him, his mother asks, "But where, son, is your beard?" "Mama," he replies, "my beard is in the past. In America, nobody wears a beard." "But at least you kept the Sabbath." "Mama, you really gotta work to achieve your dreams in America. Everybody works on the Sabbath. But kosher food, you still eat? Mama, in America, there are so many different foods to choose from. It's very difficult to keep kosher. The old lady ponders this information, and then she leans over and she whispers in his ear, Isaac, tell me, you're still circumcised, aren't you? Don't let go of who you really are. And who you are is divine. A divine expression of God. The last and really most important idea this morning for answering life's call is to remember to express your divinity. Eric Butterworth wrote, if we view the Last Supper with mystic significance rather than pure literal acceptance, we can see it as a true call to remembrance. A transcendent experience available to all of us. Through the symbolism of eating and drinking, Jesus urged the disciples to follow him in appropriating the idea of the whole being. He said, do this in remembrance of me. This remembering is that we are perfect spiritual beings. Science of Mind founder Ernest Holmes wrote, we should constantly vitalize our faith by the knowledge that the eternal is incarnated in us. That God goes forth anew into creation through each one of us. And that in such degree as we speak the truth, the Almighty has spoken. So this morning, God, life, is calling. Are you willing to pick up the phone by letting go of the past, by imagining your greater life expression, by freeing yourself to choose? Are you? And finally, and most importantly, are you willing to pick up the phone by remembering to express your divinity?
Yes.
Awesome. Hello.
Yes.
Are you out there?
This is not a recording. Okay, so please say these words to me. Repeat these after me. Today I answer life's call.
Today I answer life's call.
Hear, hear. And so it is.
And so it is.
We're not going to pass the collection plate today.
The microphone.
We're not going to pass the collection plate today. Instead, we're going to have you put your donations in the basket after the service. And meanwhile, we'll do this affirmation right here in response to Reverend Jeanne's message. I release my past and step boldly, surely, and confidently into the good of now. Wonderful message today.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So again, we will not be doing the, we have online tithing, of course, and you know, paying with your own bank app and all of that kind of thing. But if you do want to leave a donation here, you can leave it in the basket after the service. But we still want to do our offering blessing, even though we're not passing. Shall we do this together as well? Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. I am so blessed. Thank you, God. And now we are going to have a song that we're going to sing together, the Karen Drucker song, I Am So Blessed. Yeah.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Do it again.
Our announcements today, I'm sure we have, do we have a prayer partner today, Reverend Jeanne? We do? And, okay, our prayer partner's right here, she will be over there. And of course, we encourage you, if you want prayer, there we go. Prayer meeting is every Wednesday. We'll start up at the top. H. Emily Katie's Lessons in Truth will be on February 6th. Everyone is welcome. We have such a great time. And last time we had to put more chairs and more tables. It was great. It keeps growing and it's really enjoyable. So I really encourage you, even if you don't have the book, just coming and Tony always and Jeanne always give us great handouts and we have great discussion. The sign-up sheet for volunteers for reading the daily word or doing the meditation is in the back over there, and you can even do what I do once in a while. That would be nice too. And our prayer partner today is Barbara Kelly, as we said. She will be right over there. The Reiki meeting is every Tuesday at 9:30. Prayer meeting every Wednesday on Zoom with Julia. And our musicians for next week, Cerise is going to be back.
Yay.
That's,
All
yes,
right.
one of my favorites.
Mine
She's so
too.
great. Cerise Patron will be here, and Reverend Jeanne wanted me to thank all of you very much for the holiday gifting that everyone did, and I'm sure that at the annual meeting you'll hear much more about that. Really, people responded very, very well, and bless you all for doing that. That was absolutely wonderful. So now we'll do the closing song of.
As an announcement.
I'm sorry. Yes.
I want to feel.
Yes.
I want to feel in one blank about the Reverend Renee Brooks. After our dear Reverend Kira Bear left Unity of Divine Love, we were a couple of Sundays away from having to declare bankruptcy, going away. Reverend Renee Brooks stepped into the breach and was our interim minister for 1 year and pulled us out of the depths of despair into a thriving, once again, a thriving community. So I just want to let you know that.
Oh, God bless you.
Thank you. I had a feeling she does a lot of those kinds of things. She's a blessing wherever she goes. We know that for sure. That's for sure.
Renee, would you like to sing together?
No.
Why not? All right. We'll do the peace song.
Yeah, we'll do the peace song and go home.
All right. We'll do the peace song together. Let's
I
all
think.
stand.
Well, excuse me, madam.
Yes.
You're in charge. What would you like? What would you like? And what do you think is appropriate?
Together would be fun.
Okay.
But I have to switch then. Tell them what you did this week.
Pretty soon I won't be able to keep anything to myself. So I got a call last Sunday from the League of Women Voters, and one of their singers dropped out, And so I get this emergency call, will you sing Thursday evening at the rally? And it's one of those things where God called, and I said yes. And so Thursday evening, I was there at the House of Representatives on the lawn in front, and assisting in this call to come together. It was the title of the vigil was Peace at the Polls. I had never, ever been in a situation where there were people heckling and mean and saying mean things. And the coordinator came over to me and she touched me on the shoulder. And when we opened the event, there was a Native American flautist. And while he's playing, I'm praying, right? And as it turns out, when she touches me on the shoulder and says, are you concerned about this at all? And I could honestly say from the tips of my toes to the top of my head, no, I'm not concerned at all. Because I've been called here. And so Jeanne helped me to get all the tech stuff together, because the sound guy said to me, I said, I have CDs. He said, I haven't seen a CD player in years. So I said, thank you very much, I'll get back to you. And I called Jeanne! And she was gracious enough to let me come to her house and send those CD files, you know, all the computer stuff. Because when it came around, I was still in the theater, I didn't care. But it is now of utmost importance. And so she sent him all the files, and then Spirit moved, and we changed the music, right? And I went back out to Jeanne's the day of. And she did it. And I am indeed so blessed to have been there. And then my friend called and said, I'll drive you. So I didn't have to drive. And when I got there, there were 3 steps for me to go up to the stage. And I just took a deep breath, and the men were so wonderful that they just helped me up to the stage each time. And I had to go up and down those stairs 3 times. And I did it. I did it by the grace of God. So I know the power of our togetherness. The thing I also did is that when I found out that I was singing, I called everybody I knew and said, would you pray for me? And as God is my witness, as I sat there and all this loud screaming and things are going on, I could feel the power of those prayers. And I was never afraid. So when God calls, answer. One of the songs I sang that evening was Together, and we're going to do it today. She seems to be... Go right ahead. So the song is called Together. It is an anthem indeed for our time, written by a wonderful man by the name of Terry Bradford. And I'll guide you through the lyrics and catch as much of it as you can. It says, together, we will make the change. Though near or far, we'll make the change. We'll build a world of harmony. We'll build a world of unity. And to everyone, we'll lend a hand, and we'll show them that for peace we stand, we vow to live in love. Together, we will make the change. And it goes like this. Together we will make the change. Though near or far, we'll make the change. We'll build a world of harmony. We'll build a world of unity. To everyone, we'll lend a hand. We'll show them that for peace we stand. We vow to live in love. Together we will make the change. This world is full of hearts yearning to
some changes. We'd like to change a world that's getting out of hand. A change of this magnitude seems impossible to do, but together, here we go. Together we will make the change. So near or far, we'll build a world of harm. We'll build the unity, build a world of you. Everyone will lend a hand. We'll show them that for peace we stand. We vow to live in love together. We will make the change. This song goes out to you and everyone you treasure. It says that you make the difference right where you are. It says you are not alone, that we are many and we are strong, and together, here we go, together we will make the change, though near or far, we'll make the change. We'll build a world harmony. We'll build a world of unity. Everyone will lend a hand. We'll show them that for peace we stand. We vow to live in love together. We will make the change. We'll take down those walls of fear and doubt. Whatever it takes, we'll work it out. Here we go. Together we will make the change. Go near or far, we'll build a world of harmony. We'll build a unity of you to everyone. We'll lend a hand. We'll show them that for peace we stand. We vow to live in love together. We will make the change. I'm gonna leave it there if that's okay. You don't have to cut it off, but so as you go and understand what a divine being that you are, you have the power to change the world right where you are. You have within you this fount of wisdom. We just have to believe it and allow that which is divine to move through us, in us, as us. As we step across our egos and hold each other's hands and dare to think peace, to feel peace, so that we may vision peace as we walk together. May the presence of God be fuller in all of us this year than ever before. We do this together. We vow to live in love together. We will make the change. I love you. Happy New Year to you.
Let's stand and close with our prayer for protection. Also, I want to remind you that since we are short some folks that usually help us out, if you have a moment, if you want to help, all the stuff has to go back in and get put away. So if you've got an extra couple of minutes at the end of the service, I know that Jeanne would appreciate it very much. They would love that. Let's pray this together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Amen.
Amen. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
Gosh, yeah. She's great. Renee.